What is going on, everyone? I am back with yet another video for you guys. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is the Crimson Carver. I am a Warframe content creator, and I'm a variety streamer over on Twitch. Now, today we're going to be jumping into the Warframe Gauss. Now, this is going to be a beginner's guide, so that means I'm going to be covering the basics of, well, Gauss, right? So I'm going to be covering pretty much all the basics that you need to know to be able to use Gauss, right? Ranging from where to get him, how to get him, his abilities, his stats, the difference between Gauss and Gauss Prime, his augments, and at the very end, we're going to have a little showcase of some gameplay and some high-level content to show you what a beginner's build can possibly look like and how well it can do. So sit back, enjoy, and I hope you guys learn something new. Oh, and if you considered popping a sub, that would be really appreciated. So, you want to know where to get Gauss. Okay, fair enough. That's understandable. Let me show you. So, Gauss, you can buy his main blueprint from the market for 30,000 credits. Or you can buy the frame as well as a Warframe slot and a reactor, all pre-installed, of course, for 325 plat. Now, if you want to get the rest of Gauss's parts, unfortunately, you need to do a mission on Sedna. It is a disruption, and Gauss's parts have a chance to drop every C rotation that you do on this Sedna disruption. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by rotations, right? A lot of endless missions have different types of reward pools, right? And those reward pools are set up to give you different rewards per objective that is completed, right? We call these rotations, right? Now, a disruption has 3 rotations, right? Rotation A will give you a reward, rotation B will give you a reward, and rotation C, which is the third rotation, has a chance at giving you a Gauss part. So, yeah. Now, once you build Gauss, Gauss will have 270 health, 455 shield, 185 armor, 175 energy, and a base sprint speed of 1, meaning he is a speedy boy. Now you might be wondering, hey, isn't there a Gauss Prime? Well, yes, there is a Gauss Prime. What's the difference between the two? Well, truth be told, there's not much difference between the two except for 2 distinct features, right? Well, 3, technically. One, obviously, the appearance. The Prime has to look like a Prime. Come on. 2, shield, right? Gauss Prime has a higher shield, and he also has a higher sprint speed. So, yeah, even more speedy boy. So, cool. So, you built Gauss, or Gauss Prime, depending. Congrats! You now have a new Warframe. But, how does he work? Like, how does his abilities work? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's recommend, right? So, passive. When Gauss moves, right, when he runs, or like whenever his feet touch the ground and, run along, right? He generates a charge that gets stored in a battery. That battery will increase your shield regeneration rate, and it's going to decrease the shield recharge delay. More battery, faster shield regen, and faster shield regeneration rate. So bear that in mind when it comes to Gauss, right? Now, Mark Rush. You run really fast. I don't know what else to tell you. You run really fast, and if you hit something that is solid, you generate an explosion, right? And that explosion does have a fixed range, much like your radius also has a fixed range, which so one thing I should mention: the speed and the radius cannot be changed at all whatsoever, right? So you are fixed at 25 meters per second with a radius of 4 meters, right? Okay. Um, if you put efficiency right on here and duration, mind you, right? That is going to reduce the initial drain and the drain per second, right? Now, if you're wondering what this mod is, right, this is Auto Message. It is a duration mod, but it's a duration mod that can be obtained early on in the game. So if you are struggling to get those mods, to have those mods that are going to kind of act as a placeholder to you get better ability mods, go to Earth, go to Cetus, talk to Konzu. It's going to have bounties, right? Those bounties are all going to have their own set rewards. What you're looking for is you're looking for a bounty that has the Auger mods as a reward, right? And if there happens to be a rotation where you are able to see a mod that you want, whether it is strength, range, or duration, run it on public. My advice is run it on public, right? Because the more help you can get, the better, right? It makes it easy to obtain. Now, back on to the abilities. So, as I said before, you cannot increase the speed or the radius. It is fixed. There is nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is you can throw on range mods, right? But what do they do? Well, the range mods, what they're going to do is they're going to increase the explosion radius and the ability radius, right? So, kind of cool. Let's see what else. Yes, strength. So strength, right, that's going to increase the explosion damage. Now, yes, unfortunately, it does impact damage. I can't snap my fingers and say it magically does something else, unfortunately. Sorry. But yeah, so strength will affect the explosion damage, range will affect the radius and the explosion radius, while duration and efficiency are going to reduce the drain over time and the initial cost, right? Now the next ability, kinetic plating, right? Essentially, Gauss generates plating that converts a portion of kinetic damage that he takes, whether it's physical, heat, cold, or blast, right, into energy, right? So if you take IPS, boom, energy, right? But keep in mind, it will only convert 5% of the energy that you absorb, right? So if you absorb a big hit, it'll take 5% of that damage and then convert it to energy, right? So keep that in mind. This is your energy sustain. It also gives you damage reduction, right? When your battery is full, you get 100% damage reduction. It's kind of nice, to be honest. It has a drain of 50 energy. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. It has a duration of 30 seconds. So, yeah, you basically pop this ability, jump into a crowd, and do your thing. Recast the ability whenever you need to, right? Efficiency, right? Efficiency is going to reduce the cost of the ability. Hooray! That cost is no longer god awful. Yay! Good. Now, duration. That is going to make the ability last longer. I mean, what were you expecting? Right? Now, strength. Oh, strength. Strength is going to increase the amount of damage reduction that you obtain. It is still capped at 100%. It just has a higher starting percentage with more strength. So keep that in mind, right? Now, on to the next ability. Thermal Sunder. I'll be honest with you guys, I see this a lot. I see various frames run this in like Century Onslaught to do leveling and all that sort of stuff. So essentially, how do I put this? Gauss claps his hands, and depending on whether it's a hold cast, or a tap cast, that will determine whether it is heat or cold damage, right? Obviously, it has a drain, it has a radius, it has a duration, and it also has a status duration, right? So that's something to keep in mind. As I said before, it does heat damage and it does cold damage, right? Efficiency is going to reduce the initial cost of the ability. We already saw that coming, right? Now, range is going to increase the radius because this is an area of effect skill, right? Basically creates a big circle around you that consistently does heat damage or cold damage depending on whether it's a cold cast or a tap cast, so keep that in mind. Now, the circle that you create using this ability does in fact have a duration, right? So if you want the circle to last longer, dealing more damage over time, right? Yeah, duration mods. Don't know what else to tell you. Duration mods are going to increase the duration of the area of effect, right? And it's also going to increase the status duration of the ability, right? So since heat and cold both inflict their respective status effects, more status duration means either more crowd control or more damage. Yeah. Now, strength is going to increase the damage of your heat damage or your cold damage, right? Now, one thing I should mention, right, that all of your other abilities get supercharged whenever you use your red line, which is your battery, right? You chuck this up, you admittedly you slam into a wall a few times, charge up your battery, and then once your battery gets fully charged, this then turns into an armor strip and a nuke, right? It is just that powerful. Now, speaking of redline, that is the fourth and final ability of Gauss. So, essentially, you're pushing Gauss's battery beyond its limit, supercharging his abilities, giving him extra fire rate, attack speed, reload speed, casting speed, and it does area damage, right? It does impact and puncture area damage. Now, one thing people don't realize is that puncture increases the critical damage that a target takes, right? For every puncture proc. So, yeah. But Redline is basically going to supercharge all of your abilities, but the main one that's going to affect a lot more is going to be Thermal Sunder, because it's going to allow you to freeze enemies solid and deal a lot more heat damage, right? But strength mods for Redline, essentially this is going to increase your area damage, right? Duration is going to increase your, obviously your ability duration, your attack speed, reload speed, casting speed, and fire rate, right? It's going to increase all of those. So, I'm not saying this is a recommendation for a build, but I would highly recommend investing into duration for Gauss. Just seems like a smart bet, right? Efficiency, as I said, it's going to reduce the initial cost of the ability. Can never go wrong with that. Now, strength, as we said before, right? Strength is going to increase the area damage of Redline. So yeah, have fun with that. Now, Gauss, unfortunately, he only has 2 augments, right? Now, his first augment is called Mark Crush, right? Essentially what happens is whenever you smack into something, that little explosion is going to leave a vacuum that pulls enemies in within, let's say, about 8 meters, give or take. Now, it can be increased with range, right? So check this out, right? Mark Rush, Oops. Boom! That radius now just got increased to 11 meters. Cool! Basically means we can pull enemies in from 11 meters away. Awesome! Okay. Onto the final augment for Gauss. It's called thermal transfer, right? Now the way that this works is this is an augment for Gauss's thermal sunder. Essentially, whenever you cast it, enemies within range gain 75% bonus elemental damage for 30 seconds, right? This is actually really good. And you can increase the amount of damage that they gain by stacking up strength, right? Strength is your best friend when it comes to using thermal transfer. Now, you want thermal transfer's buff to last longer? Well, my friends, that is where duration comes in. More duration means your stuff lasts longer. Not much else to tell you.
Accept your death, and you may yet avoid it. Trust in your training.
Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support. Tenno, if you have a network, this would be an excellent place to deploy it. Scanning for targets. A sentient has detected you. Fighters incoming. The longer you hold out, the deeper I can search. But if you need to leave, extraction is ready. Void manifestations, drawn to this cursed place of stolen lives. They will drain your life support unless they are destroyed.